Hi, I'm Owen Wilson, and I am playing Jack in Secret Headquarters, aka The Guard. The Guard is me, and it's kind of my alter ego. I'm a kind of unassuming IT guy, dad, and when I put on this kind of superhero suit, I turn into the Guard, and I'm responsible for protecting humanity. The thing that I sort of responded to is when I read the script and kind of the story, and it really feeling like one of those stories that might have been a movie that I saw as a kid that just seemed like a great idea of sort of a disconnect between you and your son, and he thinking you're just not quite available, and then coming to find out that, whoa, Dad's been up to some heroic deeds. The source is kind of my alien superpower. It's what kind of builds the secret headquarters and my super suit. His mom's been after me to just tell him, why you're not around, because she knows the secret, but I don't want to burden him with this, kind of pressure and worry. And so I've been reluctant to say anything until I kind of get called away on his birthday, and he's so frustrated. He has some friends over to kind of have a rager at my house, and in having that rager, they stumble across the secret headquarters beneath the house. Like any kid, hearing that your dad is a superhero is, I don't think that's going to be easy for them to believe. Maybe when they were really little, but not for a teenager. And he's, 14, and so that would be that would blow your mind. Momo, I'm just kind of beginning the stuff now with the kids, but, right when I kind of showed up and kind of saw who they'd cast for all the kids, it's like, okay, yeah, that's what I kind of imagined in my mind when I was reading the script. And she just has a quality where it's easy to see why Charlie has a crush on her. Keith Asberger is, aside from being really funny, I think he kind of brings a lot of heart to the role, and it's just a great character. And that's kind of what I liked when I read the script, is that it felt like you've got this group of friends, kind of, they're not the most popular kids, but they're not misfits either. And it's just very relatable, I think, to, kind of being in school. And so the way that they kind of, talk back and forth, I thought that felt, really genuine. And I think that's what the movie kind of rests on, is that relationship with the kids. Argon is, I guess you'd have to say, he's kind of the villain. And, it's funny thinking about villains, at least with Argon, are kind of these tech billionaires. And so Argon is maybe inspired by, one of these tech billionaires, but evil. Irons is the Air Force captain who crashes with the UFO in the beginning of the movie, and who I meet. And he's the one that's, made that sort of his life mission, is kind of finding the source and figuring that out. And so there's a little bit of, bitterness and hard feeling on his part that he's not the Guard. Of course, when you kind of walk onto a set like that, and that's such a big part of the Guard's life and where he spends his time, you want to have it feel like something really cool. The thing that kind of gives the Guard his superpower is when he puts on that suit, and he's got the jetpack where he's able to fly, and also the force fields that he's able to create, and the gadgets that he has. And I think it's going to be a exciting superhero. There's a lot of superheroes out there, so the Guard has to have some stuff that makes him stand apart. I haven't worked with many directing pairs, a couple times with brothers that have directed, but this is the first time just two friends directing together, so I was kind of interested to see how they work and who says action and who talks to the actors, but they seem to work very kind of, it's not like one sort of is delineated to sort of, worrying about the camera and the other guy does the talking with the actors. They both sort of, work on, every part of it and seem very comfortable, sharing that burden of directing. Right when I first read the script, and I really, I thought it was a great story, and I spoke with Henry and Rel, and just kind of hearing their ideas, and then also on set, them kind of throwing out ideas, and it's a very kind of, not an uptight, way of working. It's you feel free to kind of try different things, and I think that's what we've done. Obviously, I hope people love the movie, and what I hope they take away is the same thing I had when I read the script, was thinking this is a great adventure, and that these kids are kids that you kind of like to see in their friendships, and that it has kind of laughs and heart and some cool action.
I'm Walker Scobell, and I play Charlie Kincaid. Charlie thinks that his dad's like an IT guy, and he keeps ditching him for his work because he hates him. But actually, his dad is the guard. His dad does want to hang out with him a bunch, but he has to do guard stuff and like save the world a bunch. The guard is, well, he's my dad, and he's basically like, he's like a superhero. He can like change directions without inertia and that kind of stuff. And he's powered by the Source, and he saves people a bunch of time, and he's like Charlie's hero. Momona as Maya is she's really good at it. It's like a completely different person. Keith is really funny. He's really good at being Burger. I can't imagine anyone else's Burger. I can't imagine anyone else's any of these parts except people who got him. Abby, same as Keith and everyone. I can't imagine anyone getting Abby's part as Lizzie. She's really funny as Lizzie. She's really good at facial expressions and stuff, and she makes Lizzie really funny. Argon is after the guard because he wants the Source, because the Source can, like, if you have the Source, you can basically, if you use it badly for bad reasons, you can like do anything. Like you destroy planets, build planets. He wants that so he can like rule the world. My dad has it, and it creates this whole secret headquarters, and it created his guard suit. Some of the gadgets that the guard has that me and my friends start playing with are so Burger gets the this magnetic rod. You press a button, and if you point it at something magnetic, you can make it float, and you can make it do whatever you want. And another thing is another gadget is this portal that Burger also puts on his head and stuff, and puts on like bad guys' heads, and it's really cool. Henry and Rel they're a lot of fun. They're really nice, and they're really good directors. They're really good at like telling me what they want me to do. They show me how they want me to do it, and that helps a lot. So it's really nice. The most fun part was it's just hanging out with everybody and just doing scenes with them. Scenes that like we have. It's like not the biggest scene, but we have a lot of time to do, so we can play around with it a bunch, and we're all having fun, and yeah, that's really nice. I think in the future there's still going to be a guard, but Charlie will like help a little bit. The guard will do all like the hard stuff, but the guard still wants Charlie to be safe, so he won't have him do any big stuff.
Jesse Williams playing Captain Sean Irons. Captain Irons is a Air Force pilot who has a particular interest in UFOs and UFO technology. He's had some sightings, he's had some near misses, some close encounters, but never anything close enough to really get his hands on it. But he strongly suspects that there is an entirely new world of technology out there that could do incredible things for humankind. I'm tracking the Source. I get somebody to kind of bankroll my mission. Argon, I don't know a lot about him, but he's the only guy that believes me enough to pay for my research. So that's what ties us together, and finally I get close to it, and that's all I care about, is actually trying to find this technology that it could be of service to people. So that kind of puts him in a adversarial role with some of the other characters, though I don't personally consider him a villain. I initially, knew that it was something I would be interested in because of the script. the directors, the cast. You know, I'm a big fan of both Michael Peña and Owen Wilson's work. I love the themes, the work that the guys Henry and Ariel have done in the past. And Bruckheimer's clearly a legend. And it was something just light and fun. I have kids. I thought it was something they could watch eventually, something playful, something light, a little different than I've done before. Yeah, just doing something new. That's always what I'm looking for, something new. It's a fun house for kids. Can you imagine, like, being a kid and getting all this trick technology, gadgets, things you can use for mischief or for fun or to try to impress somebody, or, you know, the invisible car, all that. I mean, it's a dream gig for the actors and for all the kids that get to watch it. So it's perfect. These young adults are terrific. They're professional, they're fun-loving, they're imaginative, and they treat each other well. They're having a good time. And, you know, and Henry and Ariel really foster creativity here. Some people hold their material really tight, you know, it's fixed. They have a really beautiful balance, not only with each other, but with the material and their actors. So the kids get some room to express themselves, try new things, whether we use it or not, they can decide that later, but everybody gets some malleability. But yeah, they're great. Michael's a wonderful dude. It's my first time meeting him, both him and Owen actually here. He's obviously incredibly talented from everything we've seen from him on screen, but he's incredibly talented beyond that. He can play a bunch of instruments and is an incredible golfer and all these other things that he's a master of many skills that require a lot of time, energy, and talent. Yeah, he's a great guy. We're talking nonstop in between takes and exploring stuff, and takes his craft very seriously in a very relaxed way, which is not always the case for folks. So he's a real joy to be around. Owen Wilson's a damn legend in contemporary comedy. The guy's played so many iconic roles in great movies that are all so rewatchable and timeless, you know, which isn't always the case with folks. So he absolutely was a huge part in why, you know, what piqued my interest about the opportunity to work not only in a film with him, but be spending time with him, doing scenes with him, learning from him. And he's great. He's a hell of a guy, and you see the magic in rehearsal and in us doing scenes. He's just got a really special quality about him. We are shooting in a repurposed, abandoned, massive shopping mall, which has its own kind of post-apocalyptic vibe to it as you walk around. It's a bunch of abandoned stores that you're kind of familiar with. Everything is empty and abandoned. It's kind of dirty and dusty and neglected, and they've repurposed the entire atrium, which is essentially like probably 3 stories high, to create this huge cavernous Batcave. We spent the first, I'd say, a good week training tactical weapons training, stunt training, learning how to properly roll and control your body and simulate fights. We went to the range. We did organized clearing rooms, 4 of us being able to shoot in choreographed manner safely, semi-automatic and pistols live. So that was dope. That was a lot of fun. And we have an incredible stunt team. These guys are really talented, really professional, and Greg and their team who run that whole organization are top notch. So these guys really, you know, safety first, giving you a hell of a show. There's a lot of heart in it, but I mean, Owen on screen is, you know, he's funny. He just can't help, you know, he just is. Michael's incredible, and the writing is great. The writing's great, and these kids are terrific, and they are clearly defined characters. They're not just kind of a meld of a situation. They're each very clearly defined, and the actors are incredible executing it. So yeah, it's a pretty well laid out team. It feels part of that legacy of adventurous young adult comedy, you know, comedic experiences that I keep looking to share with my kids as they become age appropriate. You know, these things that you can kind of come back to year in and year out. This feels like a new classic adventure. So I'm really honored and excited to be able to be a part of it.
Hi, I'm Michael Peña, and I play Argon Ansel. It's a Latin name from nowhere in Latin America. And I play this guy who's an arms dealer, and he has a really huge company, and it spans globally. And, you know, he really wants the technology of the Guard. And his right-hand man is this guy, Irons, played by Jesse Williams, who tells him about this thing called the orb, the source, or whatever it is that, like, is powering everything that the Guard is using to fight crime. And me being an arms dealer, I'm definitely interested, and I would love it if I could get my hands on this thing. There's a number of things that interested me about this particular project. Number one, when I read half the script, I heard that there was some interest in me for this part. I thought, whoa, this is cool. I don't normally get to play, the antagonist in a movie. I thought, wow, this would be really cool. I read, I think about a third of it, and I was like, wow, it can go any which way, depending. So let me see, some of these guys, their movies. And then when I saw their movies, I thought, wow, these guys are legit. Little ideas and details and stuff that I thought was really cool and neat. They totally checked every box, and I thought, wow, these guys would be really exciting. And not only that, but the actors, everyone was good. Everyone was really, really good. And I thought, wow, this is like, not only do they have a firm grasp on story, but they also, have a good taste in terms of like performances. So Jesse's great. He's got, very powerful look, which is perfect for Irons. There's a lot going on behind him as well. He's very tall. He's very serious. And he's a great Irons, you need someone who's been kind of had a lot of failures within his attempts into, attaining and getting the orb. And some people think that he's kind of crazy, and I'm funding this project, but at the same time, I don't know if he's crazy or not. And he's got a little bit of that going right now, which is perfect. Today was the first day that I met Owen, and it's the first time that I ever worked with him. And I thought, wow, this guy's awesome. Gosh, he just, he's really had like a tremendous career. So when you try to stay in the moment when you're, doing a scene with him, but it was fun. The young adults are so cool because I think they cast them really well. Everyone offers something different, you know what I mean, for this group dynamic, there's some that they're all really clever people. And it's just an amazing group. The mercenaries are fantastic. You have, 3 guys, actually 4 guys that turn into 3 people. And again, it's so cool, but they look way tougher than Argon. And, they're all deadly in a different way. And they're also like, they look so different, but they look like the real deal, like they would actually be mercenaries. The set is pretty amazing because it's, we're in Atlanta here at Gwinnett Mall. And at first, they tell you that it's in a mall, and you think, okay, well, that's kind of cool. I've seen Stranger Things kind of do something like this in Atlanta as well, and I thought it was pretty cool. But the way they decked it out was it's insane. My suit's pretty cool because I kind of steal the guard's suit, and it's gonna be cool to see somebody with a dad bod, like with a suit, because normally all these guys get jacked. And when I asked the guys, I'm like, hey, do you want me to get in shape? And they're like, no. Are you sure? You don't, get in shape because I'm gonna wear the suit? And they're like, no, it's okay. So I thought, all right, okay, cool. So I'm like, I think it's gonna be cool to see like 2 dads fight it out in suits. It's gonna be pretty rad. I do want to talk about Rel and Henry. Like those guys, I think are just awesome to work with. Really, I've been doing it for like 26 years. So like nowadays, I'm like, I just want to do stuff that like my kid will watch or that I will really enjoy watching. Like I said, it's all about storytelling. So you just want to be part of the best stories. And luckily for me, I get to be in some cool stories, but then you got to get along or collaborate with the storytellers, and that being Henry and Rel. I mean, they're just fantastic. Like you always wonder how 2 directors are going to be able to direct and have it be one single vision, and they do it like nonstop. It's the best idea wins, but they're not doing it like diplomatically. Like they're actually like, they're contributing to the motion of like, oh, this is cool, and you're like, we need this, of course, yeah, and then we need that, we need that element. So there's these, like a checklist of what's needed and wanted per scene, and then invariably like they both have their different sets of notes that they'll pitch in as to what they need, and there's a bunch of alts that they'll ask, and also cinematically they know what shot they want. And I think it goes back because when they first met, I think they were editors at an NPR station for small videos right? So they have the mind of an editor, and so they don't care where the idea comes from. You know, it's what can they edit and what the scene needs, which I think is a really cool perspective. And it also lessens the type of pressure that you feel as an actor, you know, because you know that you're going to try different stuff. And I do have different ideas from time to time, which is always really cool to exercise. It's a really cool story for Charlie in a way where, like, you know, he's a little bit nervous, he's a little bit unsure of himself, and you know, finally he accepts who he is and you know, does some pretty heroic stuff. But I mean, that's in the background of a superhero movie. It's really just being yourself and doing the things you like, but really just being true to yourself and accepting who you are, you know. And I think they did it, you know, in a very smart way. They executed that because they were able to do that, and follow, you know, he's got a very true and great arc, and you follow that arc throughout the movie. And, you know, all the superhero stuff is really cool, but at the end of the day, like, you really are rooting for this kid, Charlie. The most memorable part for me has to be the collaboration with the writer, you know, the directors, everyone involved. You know, there's sometimes where you get to a set and you say, like, I have a lot of ideas, and they say, yeah, but then they really want you just to do whatever's on the script, which is fine. But for me, you know, especially in movies like this, sometimes there's more, you know, and you want to discover more, and you have this performance energy, you know, that you don't have when you're rehearsing, and then you get the creative juices flowing, and everyone's been really rad. It's going to be one of these movies that I remember, you know, in my career, say, wow, I had a good time doing that one.
My name's Henry Joost. I'm the co-director and co-writer of Secret Headquarters.
My name is Schulman, and I'm the other co-director and co-writer of Secret Headquarters.
Cool. It's about a father and son, and there's a classic story about the dad works a little bit too much and the kid wishes he spent more time with him. Little does he know, his dad's a superhero. And he and his friends are going to find dad's secret headquarters under his house, and hijinks are going to ensue, and the father and son are going to reconcile their differences and come back together, and everybody's going to be a hero at the end of the day.
It turns out it's not easy to be a superhero, and I think what we try to do in the movie is sort of express how time-consuming it is when that many people are counting on you, how it's hard to maintain the balance between work and family,
Yeah.
which a lot of people in our industry can relate to. Actually, probably all industries.
Probably everybody.
Also, how does a superhero get around? If you can fly, great. If you've got a super suit, great. But what powers it? So what powers Owen Wilson's suit is this sort of meteorite computer from outer space that was brought to Earth by an alien race.
Right. Unknown extraterrestrials.
Mm-hmm. And it's got its own power source.
We just felt like there was a really relatable story at the heart of this, which is about that work-life balance, and it doesn't matter if you're a superhero or an accountant. You still have to figure out, how much do I work, how much time do I spend with my kids, where do I make sacrifices, where do I take shortcuts, and that's really what this story is about. It's about Owen Wilson has the hardest job in the world, which is being a superhero and being on call to help the entire world with their problems. But meanwhile, he has a kid at home. He has a family, and he has to figure out who he's going to spend time with. And ultimately, the family really suffers because of his superhero job.
The Guard is a brand new superhero. He doesn't exist in comic books. It's not based on anything. It's sort of brand new mythology. In our minds and in our writers' minds, he emerged the night that Jack Kincaid came across a crashed UFO in the woods. Out of that UFO came an energy source that seemed to be that seemed to have a message that it wanted to deliver to planet Earth. And it chose Jack as the carrier of that message. What he needed to do was become a guardian, basically become a protector of planet Earth. And it took him years to kind of figure out how to do it, to build the technology with the help of this orb, to build a headquarters. It didn't happen right away, Meanwhile, his family was sort of being torn apart as he was getting busier and busier. He figured out how to adapt his VW bus into a G-Mobile. He figured out how to build a jetpack. He figured out how to make a flight suit. And slowly, his missions became more global, and he started helping more and more people. It's hard to imagine anyone else playing this role. Owen is like so likable. He's just such a lovely man. He's one of those movie stars that we've loved for so long, and then you meet him and you work with him, and he's even better than you could have imagined. And you're just like, yes, I'm so glad I love him.
Yeah. People ask a lot, what's Owen like? And I always say he's exactly the way you would want him to be. You know, he's just like his performances suggest. He's warm and funny and collaborative and smart and just so great. He was so great with the kids. He's just fantastic. And I think he just brings a kind of a warmth and a humanity to the role. He feels like a regular dad in extraordinary circumstances. And he's just, he's just one of our favorite people.
Maybe one of the best parts about Owen Wilson playing Jack Kincaid is that Walker Scobell, who plays Charlie Kincaid, looks exactly like him.
They look so much alike.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah. Even Owen, he walked on set the first day and he was like, is this my kid?
Walker's kind of a small genius.
Yeah.
Not that his genius is small, his body is small.
Yeah.
The genius is large.
Yeah.
That kid's amazing.
Amazing.
He's so funny. Yeah, he improvised some stuff. He makes up his own jokes. He's got a dry delivery. He is kind of wise beyond his years, like a practiced comedian. His timing
He's very
is impeccable.
sophisticated, performer and comedian. He's so funny.
Yeah.
He's really funny in real life. Michael plays Ansel Argon, who's the CEO of Argon Industries, which is a weapons manufacturer.
Fictional.
And he's interested in the source because the presence of the Guard has kind of decreased the need for military spending around the world because the Guard is kind of bringing in this new era of peace and
Crime is down,
crime
peace
is
is up.
down, peace is up. He's solving problems, so someone like Argon doesn't have so much of a business anymore. He's interested in getting this power source for himself so he can harness that power, create new technology, and use it for bad guy stuff. Jerry is just the hardest working producer you can possibly imagine. And we couldn't believe how much he wanted to talk to us and how involved he was.
I mean, everything he's achieved, all that success he's earned ounce by ounce. I mean, we sent in maybe the first draft on a Monday at like 3 p.m., and he was on the phone on FaceTime by 6 p.m. with 4 hours of notes. We wanted to work harder and harder just to, I guess, to impress Jerry. I mean, he's that good.
Yeah, I think the source or Jack realized we have to keep this stuff a little more protected, and we have to give it a place.
Yeah.
And that place is the secret headquarters.
So what the source does, the source can sort of communicate with Jack and provide him blueprints for things that Jack, as an amateur engineer, can start to build, and then ultimately the source helped him build a 3D printer, a huge 3D printer that allowed them to build bigger objects, including the headquarters itself, and ultimately motorcycles and G-mobiles and jetpacks, blasters. He was able to take his old motorcycle jacket and turn it into a force field emitting jacket. He could sort of reconceptualize anything with the source's help. We brought the kids on set for the first time, and we kind of covered their eyes, and we led them in and basically walked them into a secret headquarters, a fully art-directed space with gadgets and gizmos, and sort of let them loose, and they could run around and play. And essentially what they said and the way they felt is how their characters reacted in the movie.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get that at a green screen.
Yeah.
Stunt coordinator and second unit director is an awesome guy named Greg Rementer, and he made some super cool, what do you call those? Stunt
viz.
Stunt vizzes, where you basically set up the stunt training facility, which is a big room like this, but full of cardboard and pads, like a gymboree, and you design it and lay it out like it's the set, same measurements, and the stunt team dresses up like the kids, and they and we shoot the film, but on a small camera and in a fake place. Edit that together, put music, put VFX on top of it, and then everyone can look at what the scene might play out to be, and you can make adjustments and change camera angles and scrap shots that are a waste of time. And Greg was just awesome at that process. Charlie, Walker Scobell, does like an awesome power slide. So like that's gotta be in there. He does his own stunts mostly, by the way,
Yeah.
which we learned on in Greg Rementer's
Gym.
training facility. You start to see Walker doing stuff and we're like, oh man, that kid can really like jump and flip and climb. So we started working that into the script. Like when he leaps over the pool table, he could do that.
Yeah.
When he power slides across the gym and picks up the nanobomb and throws a strike, he can do that.
Yeah,
With his left hand, which he learned to do for the movie. He's naturally a righty.
that's right.
But it was important to us that he's a lefty because his dad earlier in the movie forgets that he's a lefty. That's how little time they spend together.
Momo is also really coordinated. She was, the way, there's a scene where she jumps over the back of the sofa to sit down, and she just did that. We weren't even filming. She just did that like in the most effortless, like cool guy way to sit on a sofa. And we were like, wait, did you just do that? Can you do that in the scene? And she was like, yeah, no problem. Yeah, she's just very athletic and graceful.
So she jumps over the sofa. We're like, that was awesome. Hey, Walker, in the next scene, why don't you try jumping over the sofa and screw it up? And he's like, gotcha.
Gotcha.
And he face plants on the sofa.
Yeah.
Kazai Curtis, who plays Big Mac, nay Eugene Berger, is so funny. Like he's constantly filling empty space as an actor, even when he's off. The line isn't his. He's just listening to other actors. We started watching the footage and we realized Kazai Curtis is always doing something amazing, and you can, which is so helpful when you're editing a movie. You can always cut to him because you're trying to piece together takes of a movie and make the scene shorter or longer, and you could count on Kazai to fill space in such an unpredictable, on-story way.
And we didn't even realize how great his performance was until we started editing the movie. And then we would start watching scenes and just watching Kazai the whole time because he's so captivating and he's always doing something great.
Yeah.
And every day we would uncover these like little Kazai moments.
And some of them are in the trailer. They're so funny. Like Jack is talking about how you wouldn't tell your parents that you were a superhero, right? Because you'd sound crazy. And he's, yeah, no. He's just always in character, and he has such a natural delivery.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Abby James Witherspoon came to us late in the audition process. I think we saw a lot of audition tapes for the whole movie. Hundreds. And did a lot of chemistry testing and really wanted to make sure that this group of kids, young adults, had great chemistry and felt like real friends and all complimented each other. And that's hard, and you're sort of mixing and matching and building this group of friends. Abby came along at the last minute and just kind of blew us away with how funny she is and how sharp. And she plays this character, Lizzie, who's a little wise beyond her years and thinks she's a little older than her friends, even though she's not. And I think we probably all had friends like that in middle school.
The guard's got to have a mobile of some sort. And we thought it would be really kind of charming because it's Owen Wilson and he's more of a regular guy if it was the family camper. And that 1970s VW bus is just such a classic. We knew that VW was coming out with a new bus. And we said, maybe we can back into the new VW electric bus being G-Mobile 2.0. But to do that, you have to really start to set it up. So you go back to the camping scene in the beginning, establish the original VW, then you see what happens once it's been sort of tricked out by the source. And just keep building the importance of this G-Mobile all the way to the point where they get a brand new one at the end that can do a whole lot more than the first G-Mobile. Making a movie is so hard. There's a lot of ways to slice it, but I think what we aim for is a really fun and collaborative energy on set so that you want to show up to work every day because you're going to be there for a long time and for months and months and months. And this was a great time.
Yeah. I think it's for everyone. It's definitely for kids and parents alike. But I think that you know, it's also for people who just love a good adventure movie and a comedy, and you know, love a movie that kind of harkens back to some of the, you know, family classics from when we were growing up.
I'm Jerry Bruckheimer, and I'm the producer of Secret Headquarters. We found these two young directors, Henry and Ralph, who are just exceptional. They're perfect for this. They had the right pitch. They knew what they wanted to do. They wanted to open the movie up more. Chris was the original writer of the script, and which was terrific, and had a great concept, really well written. But Henry and Ralph had their own kind of feel, what they wanted to do with it by opening it up a little bit more. So we brought in some other writers. Secret Headquarters is about a young boy whose parents are separated, divorced, and he's a baseball fanatic. He's 13 or 14 years old, and he doesn't have a great relation with his father. His father's always busy, his father's never around, so he's kind of strained with that relationship. So one day, his mother drops him off at his dad's house, and his dad, after they play some games, decides that he has to go back to work. He gets a phone call and says, I have to leave. Call your mother and have your mother pick you up. Instead, he calls his friend, tells his friend to come over, and they're going to have a rager. So his friend brings two other kids with her, and they fool around in this house, and they find this door in his office that's like a vault. And they figure out a code. One of the girls is a code breaker. And they get in this vault, and they go down, it looks like 30 floors, down into this basement, which is a secret headquarters for a superhero. Well, the guard is somebody who is protecting mankind. He was formed from something from outer space that came in, and that is what built the secret headquarters. So that's why his dad's never around. And what happens is somebody wants to get this technology. So they invade, or try to invade, the secret headquarters where our kids are guarding it. And it turns into this all-out battle between our young kids who found these wonderful gadgets that have been made by his father. And they practice with them, they learn how to use them, and we have a phenomenal finale where they actually use these gadgets against the invaders, which is led by Michael Peña. Part of the fun of this movie is that Owen Wilson plays the guard, plays our superhero. And Owen brings a sense of humor to the story. There's so much comedy between him and the kids, and Michael Peña, who's a fabulous villain. But also, he's got a wonderful sense of humor too, and he's very, very kind of fun and outlandish. So it makes the story even more fun when the two of them have to go to battle. And it's a great battle at the end of the movie between these two our hero and our villain. Michael Peña plays our villain. And if you've seen any of his work, he always brings something really special to whatever he does. And to this role, he brings a lot of humor, which makes it even more fun when you have a hero and a villain, and they both have humor. The movie is so much fun to watch. It's so much fun to watch these kids interact with Peña and, of course, Owen Wilson. Each kid we took an enormous amount of time casting them. And Walker had just come off a movie that we thought was terrific. He was really interesting in the film. He's got a sense of humor. He's somebody that is really a wonderful actor for his age. And so he's got this kind of, he's inquisitive, he's funny, and he's going to be a big star. I think he's well on his way. Well, what's interesting is the kids all really liked each other. In fact, they like each other so much they're on each other's Instagram, they're following each other, they go to premieres together, they just have a blast. And the same thing went out through the entire movie. They constantly hung out together. The humor, a lot of it comes from them collaborating with our directors, with Henry and Ralph, and also the fact that they are funny, all of them. I'd say that 90% of the film is practical. Of course, we do have visual effects, because most movies do, but I would say the majority of it is practical. Well, the kids all wanted to do their own stunts, of course, but certain things were a little too dangerous for them. But the majority of them, they did it on their own, which we're really proud of them. Scared me to death that they were doing them. The through line of the movie is the relationship between Owen and his son. And that is what is the glue that holds it together. And the conflict that creates, the fact that they don't have a good relationship. And through the course of the movie, they build their relationship and become very close towards the end of the film and actually work together to solve the problem with our villain, Michael Peña. Henry and Raul are really, really talented young directors. They remind me of a young Spielberg when he made some of his early films. They are comedic, they are insightful, they are intelligent, they have a real strong visual style, they have excellent taste in casting, they understand story, they know where to find the humor. They're really rising stars. You're gonna hear a lot about those two directors. I think what I love about this movie is that we got to work with two very interesting directors and a wonderful young cast. The tone of the film is fun. It really is fun. It's funny. It has some edge to it. Has some danger to it. But the kids are so much fun. And Owen Wilson, every time he steps on the screen, he brings a smile to your face. And so does Michael Peña. So the face-off between these two terrific actors is so much fun to watch. I think that's one of the reasons between our stars, our young kids, and our villain and our hero. Those scenes are so much fun from the midpoint of the movie. I think the audience for this film is just about everybody. It's from 8 to 80.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and comment on the video if you enjoyed it. Click and watch our suggested video playlists right now for more entertaining videos. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to be notified when new videos are released.